I fear no man, but that thing, it scares me.
Cadwell Park is probably the most insane track in the UK. It is known as the Mini-Nürburgring because it's twisty, tight, and has lots of elevation changes. And it left me feeling like this. Most circuits are developed from old air bases. This gives the advantage of being pretty flat, very wide and open with plenty of runoff area. But not Cadwell Park. It's mostly used for bike racing and smaller cars, and considered too narrow and twisty for high-level car racing like GT racing, and features sharp elevation changes and even a section known as the mountain. Before we jump in, hit that like and subscribe button. Would really appreciate your support going into the season, obviously with brands only next week.
Let's take a look at a hot lap.
The lap record was actually held by an F1000 back in 2010. This was Richard Mitchum. This was actually beaten very recently in 2021 by Sam Moss in a supercar. What's bonkers about this is these guys don't even wear seatbelts and yet are still traveling at over 130 miles an hour. Here is the list of times for lap records around Cadwell Park. You'll see the F1000, the Jedi, in second place now. You might recognize the famous YouTuber and now GT4 driver, very impressive Jimmy Broadbent, in his Praga. Maybe we'll get Jimmy in an F1000 at some point soon. Hit me up, Jimmy, if you fancy it. We're going to Cadwell Park for the third race of the season on the 20th and 21st of July, I believe. So visiting Cadwell only 1 week ahead of the Brands Hatch season opener, which was a little risky in case there was any problems or accidents, because it doesn't leave a lot of time to fix those. My very unfortunate teammate Tom Westworth, who had a wheel malfunction going into turn 1 at 132 miles an hour.
Basically, the alloy just snapped. You see the wheel going out hundreds of miles an hour into the distance there. He was very fortunate not to flip, but he was absolutely fine. Car was a little bit damaged, but not as bad as you might think. That's the floorboard. Lots of grass and mud in the car. Nothing wrong with the front. It's mostly the radiator at the back.
It was pretty impressive. He was able to walk away from that without any scratches. Just a little shaken up, but he was really willing to get back in the car if it was still working. Again, it's insane. Like, it's probably the worst track you can test on for a few reasons. Mostly because the walls are so close and it's such a hard, difficult track to drive. You've got a very high chance, probably highest chance of ending up in the wall at this track. We were also testing the new tyre manufacturer, Hoosier. Hoosier. My team manager, Stuart, has done over 1,000 laps at Cadwell Park, so he took great pleasure in explaining how complex, difficult, and dangerous this track is to master, let alone get around.
Probably one of those tricky bits of the track. So you'll be pretty much flat all the way through here, but on a constant right-hand sweeper. And then you've got to stop the car and turn it into here, left, because there's no runoff there, just grass. And you need to turn into the left before you can see the curb.
Okay.
So blind turning, you'll turn and then see the curb, and the track has a dip in the middle and drops away. So if you turn in too late, it shoots you off.
Okay.
Yeah, stopping the car into here, obviously it's downhill stop, so it's quite difficult, but you have to be careful on the exit because you run out of exit quite quickly because of the kick here. It goes from on camber to off camber and tries to push you off the track on the exit. So yeah, you'll have a little bit of wheel spin and it'll unsettle the car a little bit. The car doesn't necessarily want to turn in initially, and then you get to the middle and it goes on camber and it wants to suck you left while you're trying to turn right. As late as you dare, get the car over the top of this curb. But you've got to be careful you don't turn in too early, and through the right here with too much lock on, the car will slide off left towards the armco that's here quickly. So you've got to try and drive it up the hill straight, because you will be all four wheels off the track because this is tight. Take as much curb as you dare through the left, but you've got floppy markers. Run over the top of the curb, but as you do that, the front wheels will come off the floor and you need to be turning left and braking at the same time while the car's trying to go right without the front wheels on the floor. Can't use any curb on the inside of there because it's a big chunky curb and it will turn the back of the car around really quick. Corners off camber a little bit, but it gradually gets worse and worse and the whole car wants to slide off the exit of there.
Now, my fastest time was actually in the low 127s. So low 127s would have actually put me 10th on the grid in 2019 for the race. Funnily enough, it actually put me bang next to, only a few tenths behind, Mr. Elliot Mitchell, number 11, who was actually the previous owner of my car. So it's a very good direct comparison because it's exactly the car that I'm driving.
I'm now going to stop talking and leave you to watch the highlights of this video at Cadwell Park. Some of the saves are pretty impressive, nearly end up in the wall a few times, and the engine sound you just can't beat. Enjoy.
It goes on camber and it wants to suck you left while you're trying to turn right. As late as you dare, get the car over the top of this curb. But you've got to be careful you don't turn in too early, and through the right here with too much lock on, the car will slide off left towards the armco that's here quickly.
Typical UK weather, of course, we got rain.
There's nothing outside.
Showing how you can even wheel spin in fourth at 70 miles an hour in these cars. And that spray, this is going to be a very interesting race if we end up having rain for the race come July. Fingers crossed July actually brings us sun.